Public Meetings Act, but really, as you're running the hearings, and it's important for chair to understand which you know, and I mean, also you know that if I have issues, oh, I got an echo that threw me off. So holding public hearings, we do that, give the public an opportunity to participate. That's generally where you'll have either, I mean, you're gonna have the most participation there in public hearings. But you just want to make sure that you're giving everyone the same time, and then it gets difficult, but cutting people off is important, because if you give someone more time, say you're allowing, okay, or you're turning it into a question and answer session, which it's not, it's an opportunity for them to address you. You want to just make sure everyone's treated the same during those, and that basically, is it 3 minutes they have? So 3 minutes, you're done. And honestly, it doesn't prevent someone from coming in and talking to staff outside of that, or even emailing their comments in beforehand. So obviously, decisions are all based on your own personal opinions, and the ordinances don't matter, right? Again, no. Personal opinions. Sorry to be mean, but we don't care what personal opinions are. We want you to just apply the code. And then motions, your motions need to just be clear. It can be, I motion to approve item number whatever, or if you want to state, it's always helpful to state for the record, but you can also just say that I motion to approve item number 2 as presented, or with those modifications. And if you have modifications, those need to be included in the motion. So, and then sometimes I jump in and say, hey, you need to add this to your motion. Then you'll want to modify your motion to add that, right? And the second too. Sometimes I'm a little slow, and so it comes in after the second. So, and you have to have the second thing come in again. All right, so biggest things, obviously be prepared, rely on staff and legal counsel. We always have to answer those questions. And then don't promise outcomes before meetings. Don't have any discussions with people individually, or if you want to mess with Malcolm, you could tell him no too, that's fun. But I don't do that too often yet. All right, so now what you all been waiting for, the Open and Public Meetings Act. Just the most exciting section of code. If you're ever having a hard time falling asleep at night, read that. So act was created by the Utah State Legislature. The purpose is for municipalities or any governmental entity to do their work in the open, in public, unless you're the legislature, then they exempt themselves from a lot of it. So I don't have any issues with that. So when the quorum's present, and we're down to 5 now, so when there's 3 or more present, that's when you have a quorum. So basically, that's when this Open and Public Meetings Act applies. It doesn't apply to chance social gatherings, to each other.
What if it's 2 planning commission members and a city councilman, or?
So then you wouldn't make up a body, because
They're
you're
2
different entities, yeah, 2 different bodies, basically entities, however you want to look at it. Good question, that's a very good question. Basically, you can't have those same quorum members meeting and discussing commission business unless it's basically advertised as an open meeting. So just like tonight, even though it's work session, we have a quorum here, you're going to be discussing business, not going to take any final action on anything, but it still has to be open and public. So like I said, it doesn't apply to chance meetings, social gatherings. So if you run into each other and 3 of you are there, just don't talk about city business, right? It doesn't prevent you from having a social life, but we're going to say restrict you. So we'll restrict some of your First Amendment rights, because that's just how we roll, right? Have your discussions here or wherever your open meeting is. There are certain exceptions to open meetings, generally not going to apply to this body. The closed meetings, for the most part, you won't have anything to do with closed meetings. And if you do, that's when I'll be there to tell you, no, that's not how you do it.
So as far as like emailing out information as like meeting change times, things like that, that can be communicated to everybody at the same time. There just can't be any discussion on that email chain. Correct.
Yeah.
It's more of just like a notification.
Yep. Yep, and then if someone replies, I'll be there, or I can't be there. So, like I said, and those two are part of your subject to grammar, so just keep that in mind as you're emailing. Never put anything in writing that you're not willing to say out loud or testify to and be embarrassed later when someone much meaner than me is asking you questions, so. I'm just nice all the time. It's true. All right, so I won't go much into the closed meetings because I said, like you said, that's not gonna apply much here. But at your meetings, you're gonna have obviously recordings, minutes are kept of all the meetings and I'll review that. And I noticed, I think you guys do a great job of reviewing those and even reviewing those prior to the meetings, which helps and you're conducting business in a proper manner. So, yeah, in closed meetings, there are some exceptions to recordings again, but might want to go into that. So any final action taken by a public body is voidable if that action is commenced within 90 days. So if someone doesn't like something or thinks that you, as a public body, have violated the Public Meetings Act, they can file a suit that has to be done so within 90 days. If they don't file it within 90 days, then it's good to go. So, and the city could be liable for court costs and attorney's fees, and that's generally enforced by the Attorney General's office or the county attorney. I haven't seen anybody charged with violating the Open and Public Meetings Act. I also don't really look for it. I don't think it's ever happened in Weber County, so because people generally listen to their legal counsels, so and staff. I know, but it would be a Class B misdemeanor, so we don't want that. Also, just FYI, for closed meetings, if you're ever in there, and the disclosure of that could be a violation of your Ethics Act or ground law. So, other thing is electronic meetings. If you're not able to participate in person, you may be able to participate electronically, and we do have a code for that now, right? Or is it updated?
Dan's working on
Okay,
Yeah,
so
they're updating.
so that'll be soon. So you'll have that ability soon. And then basically the most common violations of the Open and Public Meetings Act, failing to provide proper notice or adequate notice, discussing meetings in closed meeting or discussing items in closed meetings that should occur in an open meeting. And you can't ever take a final action in a closed meeting. All has to be done openly. Closing meetings without the members of the body voting first. I'd say one of the most common also violations is kind of goes to that adequate and proper notice is just putting other business or just something that's vague, doesn't give the public any idea of what you're trying to discuss. And so you have to give reasonable notice for the public to understand what the item is you're discussing, because everything we do is in the public eye. So it's also called the Sunshine Act, the Open and Public Meetings Act. Just basically all deliberations and all your items of business should be conducted openly. There you go. Questions? Comments?
Question, if a citizen or anybody sends a group email, you're better off, are you better off replying to all if you choose to reply to that, or are you better off replying just to that one person?
So my recommendation is generally forward it to staff. You could have one person respond. I don't know that I would do a reply all, because it's almost as if that's representing the body.
Right.
That reminded me of something else though. If a citizen brings something up during your meetings, and you don't have it noticed, can you discuss that?
I think you can discuss it, you just can't take action.
Ooh,
Yeah.
all right. If I had candy, you would.
That's action.
You would get one, yeah. So that's exactly it. Yep, you can discuss it, you just can't take final action. So, but yeah, if someone's emailing, which happens a lot, I don't know if you want to designate someone, but generally my recommendation is forward to staff. Generally, they're emailing you because they're not happy with staff's answer
They don't know.
and want something else. But you could have someone respond and then, just, yeah, like I said, understand that becomes part of public record as well, subject to grant law. So, other questions?
So really, yeah, if I see Jay's on the street, shouldn't talk about any.
Run the other way.
Well, I already did that.
Okay, all right.
It's faster than you can. I shouldn't, I don't even talk about anything, any subdivisions coming up.
Yeah, don't discuss any of the public business. So yeah, even if you're not a quorum, don't discuss it. And that's the other, like conflicts, if you have conflicts on something, declare it. If you're unsure that you have a conflict on a certain issue, say it's neighboring property or it's family member that's coming in to subdivide the property or have other business before the planning commission. Just discuss it with either Malcolm or Ryan, and we'll let you know if we think it is something. Generally, I'm gonna say, take the conservative approach, and if you think there's a conflict, it could be an actual or an apparent conflict, and then you can just recuse yourself from that vote. Obviously, if it's your own property, you should be recusing yourself, so. Okay. Good questions. Anything else? All right. I'll hang out for a bit. I may leave early, so
I just feel free to jump off whenever you need to.
thank you.
All right, nothing else from Matt?
I guess text messages, fall on the, kind of like,
Yep. They do. So, now if Malcolm texts you on and says, hey, we're gonna have a planning commission barbecue. One, if I'm not on it, then that's a violation. But that's something that's more of a social gathering. So, yeah, that'd be fine. But any business, yeah, that's a good question. And that means no, let's see. I can't, but what's the one, the Snapchat. You can't use the Snapchat and delete your message after. Yeah, used to prosecute in juvenile court, so I know all the new things that you guys are.
Snapchat.
That's why I said Snapchat.
What it is, but yeah.
Okay, and again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Cool. Sherry wanted to talk about the subdivision process, which makes sense with a couple, well, with a new planning commission member and an alternate. So I'll walk you guys through the process a little bit, and Jace really will know a lot about it. He's kind of on the other side of the application, making sure that you guys are represented in our reviews, but I'll kind of give you guys a rundown and let me know if you have any questions. A few key points. So about a year and a half ago, there was a new House bill and Senate bill that required a new subdivision process that really limited city council's involvement, and to an extent, the planning commission's involvement in the approvals. But the planning commission, for our use, we had a consulting group, it was Hanson and Associates. They helped us draft our new Chapter 8, which is in our Title 10. It's strictly for 1 to 2 family residential use, which includes duplexes and townhomes. But other than that, it doesn't apply to everything else. Commercial, other heavier residential use is still under a different process with the city council. But for that usage, the planning commission has been made the land use authority in our chapter. So you guys make the final decision here for the final vote on a 1 to 2 family residential subdivision. It just goes for 1 approval to the planning commission. And the council is the appeal authority. The way the council's still involved is it only goes through the political process if the intended use is not permitted by right. So if they need a variance, or if they need a rezone, or if they need an extra consideration beyond what's permitted within our ordinance for that type of subdivision, then they go and get that from council, then they come back for the process. The land use authority responsibilities are listed here. I'll pull them up real quick. Probably worth looking at them. This is out of our ordinance. I don't think it's updated online yet. I don't know why, but not. Let's see. Land use authority. Yeah, you go. The land use authority, which is the planning commission, is responsible for the following, but may delegate any tasks to the technical review committee. We do have a technical review committee, which consists of some city staff. But just to give you guys an idea, rendering land use decision on all the subdivision applications petitioned under this chapter, reviewing all applicants under this chapter in an impartial manner, providing feedback to applicants in a manner required by this chapter, scheduling, holding a pre-application meeting, we call them concept conferences, keeping subdivision application forms and related information materially up to date and publicly accessible, which we've worked on, providing notice to entities, signing application, petition proposal required as a chapter, their planning commission chairs, sign on the plat. Ensure that documents are properly recorded with the county as required. We established a technical review committee to help with that, so
Who is on our technical review committee?
it's a good question.
Awesome.
Here you go.
There we go.
Who?
Yeah.
City attorney as needed. Reed had made me put that as needed. Why do you think? So should we remove it now that you're in?
That's your get out of jail free card right there.
City planner, planning chair as representative, city engineer, public works director as designated city planner, or an equivalent position.
Okay.
So I kind of oversee it now, but if we had a city admin or something, they'd oversee who's on it. But typically Jared and Taylor do all the legwork. I do all the, putting it together. They do all the technical stuff. And I try and loop Jason best I can as a planning commission chair. I should do better at that admittedly, so try and hold me more responsible for that. There's two places where I should really loop you in. It's one, when we're determining if an application is complete, that should go to the land use authority. You guys decide, yeah, this is a completed application, let's process it. And then two, when I do a review, I try and send the notes to Jace so that you guys
I
know.
forward those when I get those to you guys. So you
Yeah.
guys can-
Speaking of the application, have we updated the subdivision or the single lot subdivision now? I mean, it was written in like 2007.
The minor one.
Yeah, because you go through that, you hand them that little packet.
Yeah.
And you go through that, and then you come back, or you used to, you come back and, oh, you forgot this, and you forgot this, and you forgot this. It's like, well, it wasn't on the check sheet.
Yeah.
So has that been
Yeah.
revised?
We did do a checklist. I'll show you guys in just a minute here. So I'll show you that.
Anyway,
07 was a good year. Things really were going good. So technically we gotta commit here's the process. So this is why we have a TRC really in a nutshell. So we have a pre-application meeting that we're required to offer by state law. If an applicant requests it, we have 15 business days to schedule after the request. That's our concept conference. It can be as simple as, we have a requirement, but it's pretty minimal requirements. It can just be a simple sketch. They pay a fee and we sit down, we invite all the other, all the utility providers. We sit down and talk about it just at a high level. I think it's to mitigate risk for applicants so they get a reasonable assurance of their projects,
good.
yeah, good or not. So they can have that as optional, though they don't need to do one. And then really this is what's important. When we get a complete application, like I said, you guys help determine what that is. I'll pull up our checklist to your point in just a minute of what makes a complete application. Let's pull it. Here's our checklist that we just created. And it doesn't differentiate a lot between a minor and a major, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of hard as you're aware. Minors jump through a lot of the same hoops as a major, and it's costly, but anyway. So you need an improved land use application, which we provide. They have to sign it. They need a plat with all these details, and this is where the engineer gets involved, not me.
Is it a preliminary plat or like final
It's a
plat?
final plat. We just have one approval now, no preliminary, just final. So these are all the details in our plat we want. This is where these are the signatures that we require on the plat. We were Morgan help where applicable, and then it should say something about a land.
This is where
Oh
we
yeah,
had,
land use authority to sign.
we had a conversation at one point about some of these sign offs, because it's almost like a chicken and egg conversation.
Yeah.
Some of the utilities don't want to sign until they have this, and some of them, they can't have this until we have those signatures, so.
We need an improvement plan, which are all the construction drawings, traffic study on a UDOT road, we typically require, a soil report.
For one lot?
Well, these are just like one super.
Soil reports from minor subdivisions shall be submitted when required by the city engineer, not required, just if we think there's an extra
Well, the
circumstance.
traffic study.
Traffic study, if it was on a UDOT road, that we would just let UDOT decide, but they might require, they probably wouldn't.
Mine was a 2 lot subdivision and then.
Did they? Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
You
you
almost split my lot on, you know?
What did you not charge them?
Um,
There's nothing's free.
I don't remember. It must not have been much, but I would remember.
You remembered if it would have had a bunch of zeros behind it.
We have a few required certifications and affidavits and owner signatures, pretty much just stating they own the property and they can do what they're doing. Final letters of approval, this is where it gets a little tricky because we're working with other entities, especially Hooper Irrigation and Hooper Water. They obviously have their own processes of how they want to issue a final, but we want assurance that it's good to go. So that takes some navigating throughout the process, but we work through that. Some supplementary copies. They hate this one, but Jared requires it. 1 24 by 36 black and white. Which is fine and we can do it, but he wants one hard copy, which makes sense. We have a big file plan or a big plan set right there. It's good to keep. And then payment. Probably that's a complete application. So I get all the information, send it to Jason, then we determine if it's a complete application.
So what, just out of curiosity, what is the payment? What does it cost them?
The subdivision fee is.
For a minor?
So I think like the minor's like, oh geez, I can't remember, it's like $300 or $400 and the major's like $500 to $700 or something. They're not much for an application, but somewhere in that ballpark. I could pull up our fee schedule, but I don't have it right here. Not much. The big fee is when they start construction. There's a 1% fee of the estimated cost. And so that's the big piece. Once they have their approvals and they're going, there's a fee.
You said we determine if it's a.
Complete application.
Planning commission meeting once a month?
Really the TRC does it with Jason's, he's part of the TRC, so that way it's expedited. Because we have to determine, once we determine they're complete, then this timer starts. We have 4 cycles that we're allowed to do. So we check for conformity with the ordinances. So really, this is almost one step in and of itself, because if it's not, really, I'm just quickly telling them each time they submit something, you didn't turn in the whatever, this isn't complete, get me it, right? So I guess those are, I don't know if those really count as cycles, that's kind of just complete application, but we check for the conformity. We've never had one not go 4 yet, it always takes 4. But once we check with the conformity, we send it back to them. We have 15 days to respond, so it is a little bit tight.
So you said it takes 4.
4 reviews, 4 cycles.
Is that because our checklist isn't? Or it's because they forget, I mean, if you look at it in the.
Kind of both sometimes, at least the ones I've been in, it's just like, oh, we told them to do this with the road and then they didn't do it.
Yeah, sometimes they don't do it, or, I mean, definitely, fully transparent. There's probably a lot of improvement the city could make on our end to make the
I just.
ordinances read a lot clearer and the requirements read a lot clearer so that they get a lot closer to the final product. But my just, limited perspective opinion, it's hard. They're complicated. A lot of, by the time Taylor and Jared go through a first review, it'll be maybe 30 or 40 comments, maybe more, 50, 60 on the construction plans, and it's just a lot of work. So it just takes a while. But anyway, we have 15 days to respond. They want to see timely responses. Once we respond, well, real quick, during the 4 cycles, we've talked about this, we're allowed, we don't have to, but we may hold 1 public hearing, not per cycle, just for 1 application. You guys in the past planning commission, which is a lot of you guys, anyway, they wanted to have 1 still. If you guys want to continue to have them, I've been scheduling them at a reasonable point in here because I kind of have the best pulse on how far they are in their reviews and how serious it is. I don't want to schedule one that, doesn't end up going very far. So once they've had about 1 review and they didn't get good and shy and say, oh yeah, we're not doing this. This is going to take way more than we thought. They come back with a second review. Generally at that point, it's like, okay, everyone's on board. We're going to see this through. We'll schedule a public hearing. And then we have them. Any thoughts on the public hearing?
I still kind of like the public hearing because it allows. I know they get a envelope that says, hey, you made one bill. But still give the opportunity for the public to.
Well, with Kimball Estates, it did turn up one property dispute that had to be settled that I
Yeah.
didn't know about.
Well, there's probably, let's say it's next to me down on 71 Road. There might be things that Jason, Jared doesn't know about, that I can say, hey, wait a minute, you guys thought about this? Or, I just kind of like, I still like the one, I don't think we have to draw it out, but.
Yeah, so we have been holding on. We can continue to do it. If it becomes cumbersome or if those are done, let me know. We don't have to have one, so that's your guys' call. But anyway, then once we've responded within our 15 days, they have, let's see, applicant replies and makes modifications. They have, let's see, if applicant takes more than 40 days, we get another 20 more days to review and respond to our 15. It's kind of stupid. This is all state law, though. But anyway, they have 40 business days apparently for respond, which is a lot. And so these.
I think they tried to make this so that it was a 90-day deal.
I don't know what their end goal is, but I know it was supposed to be a lot faster. Probably is. I don't know. I wasn't around during the whole process, but.
About a year.
Yeah, so then it goes back around. And like I said, generally we exhaust all 4 of these by the time we get it right. But the only other piece I would note is probably more in here.
So
So
we're doing our best. Hey, we're not intentionally trying to go around that wheel.
no, we do our best. Anyway, once they've met all.
Part of that, I think, is if these guys come in for the one lot, use Hanson and Associates or Reeves, they play the game with the first, let's say, so they know exactly what's supposed to be on the plat.
Yeah, it does go a long ways. Reeves does a ton here, so when Reeves builds out the
They
plans,
know
they're
they
pretty
gotta have
close.
this on the plat, this. A lot of the newer ones go, oh, I missed the drainage plan, or I missed the.
I mean, so do our, I almost use the word customer, I guess they kind of are customer. Do they have access to that checklist, that initial checklist? Is it like on our website or?
No, but it should be.
Yeah, well, that was my second question, like you were talking about chapter 8, that's not on our website either.
Should be.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a gal in the front office you could talk to about it. Stephen. I've sent it to Morgan, and Morgan has sent it to the person who updates it
Okay.
3 or 4 times, but hasn't been updated. So I don't know.
Stuff
I'm
on
not,
fee schedules.
I don't know where
I'm sure
I don't know where the disconnect's happening, but
I mean,
I think we have a website person that updates all that, and I don't know. I'm not sure. I really don't know.
Well, 'cause
I sent it to Morgan though, and then she's not able to get it. Someone's not responding to her just right.
So I know that's something that frustrates me, like if I sit through council meetings, like where they're talking fee schedule, we don't have any access to any of that. Like you can't find, if I type in West Haven fee schedule, I can see their entire fee schedule off, pull it off on the line. But with us, our stuff, it's almost hidden. So.
Yeah, it's a website issue, is what it is. It's not easily out on the website. That's why Google's not plucking it up for you.
But it is accessible here. Then you
It is accessible here, and I do give it to everyone. I provide it to everybody. And
Who wants to come here for that?
yeah,
Everything's on.
yeah. So after we've said yes, it's complete, or it's everything's good. You guys have 20 days to approve or deny the application. If they went all 4 and it's not good, we're still supposed to send it to you guys for decision, approval or denial, which I guess would be a denial. They would have to restart. But anyway, 20 days. So as you can see, that's a little bit with a meeting only once a month. We have to be a little strategic, right?
well, you're fixing that one, that we're changing the conditional use permits for, outbuildings. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we pushed that up to the council so that, because in the past, 98% of our meetings were proven a pole barn.
Yeah.
And we decided as a planning commission that we wanted to maybe look at increasing those square footages, so.
Yeah. Which I still
Get
think
that
is a good
every
idea.
time, you know what I mean, so then this would.
Be more priority. Yeah, no, and that makes sense. It should free up some time when we bump those. I guess the other part I mean though is if we're only meeting once a month, but we have a 20-day, right?
But our ordinance says if we have to meet more often than
We can.
we can, right?
20 business days, so that should be enough time.
It hasn't been a problem yet. We've always been able to make it work, but I'm saying it's probably technically the time there where we might have to make it work, but every time it's worked.
So you don't bring it to us until everyone's approved it, even Public Works saying the road, everything's good, even escrow or check or something like that. Is it
That's not
approved?
time.
You wait.
Usually you'll
That
have a check.
doesn't come until you get approved.
Okay.
Until you approve.
But everything else is done, they could have a, also have pre-construction meeting, take the day after. Like everyone's.
And in theory, they could if we posted escrow or,
Yeah.
yeah, they could. As long as we could, you know.
Yeah, so they could just get down that public hearing and then.
Yeah.
Then it gives them a little more.
Oh, yeah, so there you go. So after the approval, applicant completes improvements and posts, or they either can complete the improvements and be done, or they can post guarantees and be done, right? But they have a year to do that.
You can't take the next day.
Yeah.
Both on Friday.
Yeah, that's true. No, I was mostly to say, I was more so curious to see it.
So they have a year to report, their plat after.
So-
approval.
Do they record it or do city staff? Because
Technically, we do.
my boys, Teresa took it in and.
Yeah, technically we did. Yeah, but they have a year to get it to staff.
Yeah, staff.
So you take it to the county,
We have been.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make it.
you make them pay the fee.
Yeah.
That's part of this, good.
So if it goes all 4 rounds and it gets denied,
Mm.
is there a waiting period before they can reapply?
Yeah, there is. There's something about it can't be submitted, with this exact fundamentally the same. It's gotta have this, a change, and then, yeah, there was a waiting period, and you guys can waive that if you determine, oh, that change is fundamental or significant. That would make it work. We'll change the waiting period. You can start sooner. I think it's a year. I have to look.
That's what I had thought, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, they have a year. That's tight, to be frank. I think we wanted 2 years and then the council decided a year, but we do have a provision you can extend it. So it's not like after the year there, this on, before they reported that you could extend it for another year.
So if they post a guaranteed still, you,
They post a guarantee, they're done. They could record.
they can, real, that's what I'm saying.
And then it check the box under reporting. We just want it reported within a year, either the improvements are in or it's, we just don't want something lingering out there that's not actively like, one, they don't have escrow to post or not really serious about it. We want something to be lapse at that point within a year. Or we don't want it to, we just don't want it to sit around. So that's where we're at. Any questions about that process?
I would like. Development agreement. You just kind of sending up there, where does that fall? I know that was from the whole.
I don't know.
Where does that fall in this process?
I'm not sure.
Oh. That's where I come in. Yeah, so there is a state code that was passed within the last year or so, maybe 2 years. You can't just require a development agreement to require development. It has to have some sort of change that they're asking, some variation from the code.
We're asking or they're asking?
So they're asking, so say they wanna change setbacks or whatever it be, they want more residential or more commercial, just any sort of change that they're asking for, then from what the code does. But if it's just, if it meets the code as it sits, we can't require it.
But that would come into play, like you check everything off and they're like, well, I have this ask, that would still come before us, and if it was fundamentally different from the ordinance and they had us that.
It's a good question. We haven't done a lot of this. We think our old processes, we had them and there's been some change, but either way, and Matt can probably guide me through this. Let's say we do have one and it would tie into this process. They want something different than what's available in the ordinances. That would lend itself to a development agreement because we're saying, okay, that's something that's not offered, you're gonna get, but in my opinion from this, it would need to go to the council to get approval for something that's different than what's approved in code. So then they would build out a development agreement, and then in my opinion, they would kind of coincide then in this process. We say, okay, you have a development agreement, now you have a complete application, take it through the process,
But we had.
and then you would approve it.
We had never come. They would go to the council first to get that. going.
Yeah, I don't think you guys could give them the rights they
It
need.
comes here first, instead of first, but we could have a public hearing on development hearing and the plan, and then the city council will be the ones to approve it. So
We
you-
recommend, yeah, you can send us with recommendations.
Okay.
Yes, you.
So you would, you want them to come through here
That's-
to consider, then recommend, and then the council, then it would go through our subdivision process with the development agreement.
Yeah, so the development, and the development agreement only gives them those rights, to that development, just like our code does, so it's basically a modification that code giving them rights to that change, and that's it, so.
Then we'd have to go through, then we'd have to go through the
It
process.
doesn't start a certain.
Sure.
Process, but should be developed on
Yeah.
agreement first if they want something changed.
Which, to be honest, there's a lot more of that. All the developers and recently have had a few things they want, so we'll probably be bringing them to you guys for considerations and a recommendation to city council.
Well, the good news is that doesn't start this clock.
Yeah, it's separate, yeah. It would be separate. That wouldn't be fair.
Do we have many rezones?
We don't get many, no. No, not a lot. But they would lend themselves to developer
Yeah.
agreements, wouldn't it?
I think we're good, but we have.
Yeah, historically, there hasn't been a lot. I mean, a little bit of like R1 or R3/4, we call them R75 to half acres, but nothing unique other than that. We're pretty simple that way. We do halves, 3/4 and full acres. That's what we've done in the past. But yeah. Anyway, the technical review committee is really just to help you guys, to be honest. So you guys don't have to, you oversee it, but you don't have to do the whole process. The staff takes a lot of it on and we involve you, so. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I just wanted to end with this, because we have a couple new ones. Standing Park, they've had a concept conference. They needed a condition, or they needed a waiver, so they came to you guys for an approval for sidewalk, which is within our ordinance, so they don't need a developer's agreement because it's ordinance based, but they got a waiver, went to city council, got a waiver. So now they're complete and starting their process, so they're on their first review cycle. And this one, I hope it's small, as you can see, I don't think it'll go all four, it's a small one. So, well, that's one you guys will be seeing soon. But it's an example.
We're gonna see it again.
Yeah, for the subdivision approval.
Which we just.
All you did was the code, they gave them the sidewalk waiver. Yeah. And then Angus Farms, which has already been, oh, by the way, this one, I'm scheduling a public hearing for it in March. So your March meeting, there'll be a public hearing on this one. So that box is checked for you guys and it's within our code, and then that'll happen in March. And then Angus Farms, this
This
is,
is the dog property.
yeah, it's actually, they were changing the name before approval, which I think is fine. I just am getting the updated letters to match the names, but it's
So we, did we
Aberdeen.
sell them the property so they can get in? Cause you had a issue with.
We're gonna co-sign on the plat, so it's gonna be our property anyways, cause it's a road that's gonna get dedicated back to us. So rather than doing what we first thought and selling it to them and then dedicating it back to us, we're just gonna co-sign, they'll get dedicated to us, and then we got some improvements out of it was kind of the consideration. There's a few things, this is our lift station, so they're giving us like a gate here to get in, cause you know, they're gonna take them in.
Got a gate.
Yeah. A couple other things. Yeah. Anyway, but this one will be coming for final approval from you guys, probably in March. Yeah,
How many lots?
21, 22. Yeah, 22. So, yeah, this one's really close. In the TRC process, so. There you go,
5700 south, right?
5900 west and yeah, 5700 south, yeah. Yeah, this will mean could be good.
Well, hopefully it goes faster than retail park.
Oh, this
So-
this is the Nielsen Homes one, so they've done a lot here. I think so.
But that brings up, that HL Park one brings up a question though, because we talked about that, there's really no teeth in our ordinance, like, you know, you're on double super probation if you don't get this done. Is that a recommendation we have to make to the council, or can the council just take that on by themselves? To actually put some teeth behind that, so that we're not doing 4 years. worth of extensions? Well, it's,
Really,
the
the
enforcement
enforcement.
come in, yeah, kind of the enforcement piece, he came in and ended up with like 4 years worth of extensions to get this property.
Well, I think that's been fixed with our update. So one, we're not gonna do a development agreement that's gonna dictate any timelines or anything beyond our ordinance. And our ordinance says if they haven't recorded their plat within 365 days, it expires and they gotta restart the process. And in our ordinance, Sansom Associated, we could do this, they lose their vesting. So they're subject to all new regulations. So now they should be pretty motivated. Everything moving forward is you have 1 year to get everything done and installed, or we can just,
They lose their vesting,
yeah,
so then if the ordinance change, they
have to reapply under the new ordinance.
And then
Reapply and but you could extend it 1 year is the final. So it should work both ways. It should give them an option to extend. It should motivate them. I think it'll work now.
And that's something I thought of too, soon too, is an ordinance indicating what the vesting period is.
It's in there
It is in there?
in our new one,
Oh, okay. I just wasn't there.
other than an old one. The old one,
Okay.
they were handling it through development. Where they would give them a time frame, and then it would say you can ask an extension, then we would just extend the developers agreements, but we didn't have an ordinance that made them lose their vesting or anything. We didn't have a.
No, there's no.
Then one, so like in this one, it's like the developer agreement said, we gotta go in for an extension, but then why would we not extend it? What are we gonna do? So we just extend them.
Is there a cost for an extension? So like if.
No, but there should be, to be frank,
So,
especially like administratively, but I don't know, that it's a discussion, I don't know.
yeah, it has to be tied back to the actual costs. So whatever costs that the city incurs, then they would say, yeah, but it was just you request a.
Yeah, I know Jared thinks there should be, and it would be, because we have an administrative cost that even the state license is associated with that. I think it can be 1% of the escrow amount is what the state law calls out for administrative stuff, and we do that now. I think Jared thought if we go to one that, needs a ridiculous amount of extension, that we should have a point where we could then, because the administrative costs will continue, we'll still have to oversee the project. And
So like that project, he's got 800 grand in escrow, so you'd have to pay 800,000 in escrow, Steve, then.
Well, no, he would have paid 1% of his project estimate, which I think his project estimate was $1 million. So his administrative fees were 100,000.
Wow.
And they get 100% of that back after 12 months.
No, that's a fee the city collects.
that pays for inspections, things like that, you're saying, right?
All inspections. It's a lot of inspections. Jared has to inspect, and his guys have to inspect every piece of public infrastructure. You know what I mean? He'll go out and do 40 inspections over a subdivision.
Can the applicant question like how many hours you put in and then request money back, man? Or is that just like a, sorry, here you go, what it is?
Yeah, good question. I don't know. Answer that. I mean, they can. I don't know. There's any requirement, but if there's something that, if they run a request that. If we keep that record, then.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I think
But that's a keeping the record, but that's not. That's not.
Yeah.
I would think if you tied it to a percentage or to a set fee and not tied it to an actual time, then it's like, oh, that's the project.
Yeah.
So.
There's other fees that, or other costs that are incurred other than just the inspections.
Yeah.
Like obviously they hire someone to come and video check their pipe. That's a cost of the city.
Okay, that's all I got. You guys have any questions?
So when you, after this whole process, you bring it to planning commission, right? And you make a recommendation. Do you make a recommendation to the
The
planning commission?
TRC does. Yeah, and I'm part of it. So yeah, we recommend.
So at a planning commission meeting, you'll come, you'll present the project, you'll say went through the process, it meets code ordinances.
He'll usually throw up the plat,
Yeah.
the plan, and then he throws up 2 or 3 papers that show every question Jared or Taylor had, and if it was addressed or not, or this still needs to be, and then they said, what do you guys want to do? I was like, well, they've met everything you guys asked, send it up, or.
I'm surprised you hit 4. We never hit 4 because what we say is the county, if we make a comment, say they don't address it, we're still in that one, so we're still there.
Probably valid.
If it's just a comment.
So, yeah,
We don't need your fancy pants counting.
Say you said you needed to put an AV ramp or something.
They've got a lot of people to think to it. I probably think about
They
it.
didn't put that in, it's not completely in effect.
That's probably fair.
You should.
Yeah, but no, and it is because with the submission, the state law requires that you address all comments and that you, in writing.
Yeah.
Address, how you addressed them.
That's what we did.
Yeah. True, so technically we probably could be some more
It's
stringent.
just-
Yeah, we're a little more agile in the county. We Try and get in
No,
there.
it's just the-
Yeah, we're gonna work on this with you guys. Let's go.
They code my car stuff. And the big time developers don't even know what's in it.
That's it?
That's all I got.
Well, there's test.
Okay.
So we don't dig deep until you pass.
100%.
Oh, you did?
You got me on block, so.
So March should be busy.
We should have an approval one and the public hearing and two oversight structures.
Yeah, see, there you go, again with them oversized structures, get that pushed up.
I'm trying.
Get you guys talking about that. Love to.
Darren lambasted me. We got to fix this, and this, and then he said, we fixed so many things, it's gotta go back to the planning commission for another recommendation. It's so redundant, but he just said a lot of good opinion on this, we should consider this and this, so we addressed them, but you guys need to know them and then recommend them. He's gonna come back to you. I don't know. So,
Where's things at on the sidewalk escrow? We recommend that.
In about 3 times.
I've never been involved with anything beyond our sidewalk escrow, what about it?
For a single lot subdivision.
Basically the same concept as the curb and gutter.
I mean, let's be honest,
Waiver, then we can.
we charged him,
$31,833.
It's not that you.
that's gross, you sidewalk, right?
counting.
And the,
Oh, I know, I think on city council,
Public Works Director
Not wanna do that road.
said, I said, yeah, why would we do that? Because that's a UDOT road, we're not ever.
Never touch that one.
So
I
it's
think
gonna sit
city
there for
council,
10 years. and
city
he gets it
council
back.
is discussing the escrow process next week. Yeah, city council, I think it's on their agenda next week to discuss the escrow process. If they wanna change it, they'll probably have you guys give a recommendation.
I think, just like when we went out
We
and we,
define what's noticed and what's not. So. No decisions tonight.
no, we're, no,
I know, but even discussion items need to be noticed.
oh, really?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I thought we were just having a. Yes.
My bad.
No, you didn't.
That's what I count on here for you guys.
No, we
Yeah.
pushed that up and it's kind of got lost and we need to readdress.
Take care of it.
No.
Alright. We'll restart agenda. That's got a motion to even. And
I'll make a motion that we end the training session for the planning commission on February 12th.
I second. Got a motion from Commissioner Wilcox. And Wilcox, Commissioner.
I took Wilcox.
Second, from Commissioner Wilson, all in favor?
Aye.